Alan Copeland. How can the EU justify their proposed increase in view of the present economic climate situation? Shouldn't they be subjected to the financial restraints of most of their members?
They were bidding for 5.9% increase. It appears that 2.9% increase is going to be the likely figure, of which the United Kingdom will pay 450 million. Described as a spectacular success by the Prime Minister and complete failure by the Labour Party.
But I think it goes beyond that. It's what does Europe actually spend this money on? And the Prime Minister and myself, many colleagues in the coalition cabinet and beyond, are extremely concerned about how this money is spent. An ideal situation would have been if we had had a freeze, but the reality is that the European Commission asked for a nearly 6% rise. The European Parliament, including Labour members of the European Parliament, were looking at a 6% rise, and there are 26 other countries with whom we had to negotiate. And in those circumstances, to keep our increase to 2.9%, I think is David Cameron squeezing the best deal that he could for Britain.
Can you explain why, having agreed, as Jack Dromey said, and is well known, to the 2.9% in August at the Council of Ministers, he then says he wants a freeze, and then says it's a triumph to get what he'd already agreed in August?
I think David Cameron has been clear throughout that we would have wanted a freeze. That is what an ideal situation would have been.
But he'd agreed in August.
That is our position.
He'd agreed in August 2.9%.
Well, actually, Jonathan, you'd be surprised to know that that agreement is still not determined until November. That's when the final decision will be made. But what we are now saying is that no more than 2.9%. But our position throughout has been this, and it's been very clear, that if we could have got a freeze, if we could negotiate a freeze, that would have been great, but in the circumstances we've managed to get 10 other member states to agree to this, and we've tried to get the best deal for our country. And in the past, I think what you can say is, one thing we can say, Jack, and you will agree, is it is the Conservative Party that does manage to get the best deal out of Europe, because it was a Conservative Party and it was Mrs Thatcher who's managed to get 88 billion back for us in a rebate that Tony Blair sadly tried to give away.
Peter Hitchens?
What a lot of self-serving tripe we hear. Here we have two parties which would discipline any members of theirs who dared to suggest that this country would be better off out of the European Union. Why wouldn't we be better off out of it? It's not just this nonsense of the latest increase. It costs us £20,000 a minute to belong to an organisation for what? To have our fishing industry devastated, to have our national independence daily further undermined. So that passport you have isn't your passport, it's a European passport, which permits any member of any citizen of any of the 27 members of the European Union to enter this country as freely as you. We don't even have a national border anymore. We have less and less control over so many aspects of policy, from the collection of your rubbish to the closure of post offices, thanks to the European Union, which dictates about 80% of the legislation which passes through Parliament. What are the benefits of this? Prizes have been offered to anybody who can come up with any benefit this country has ever had from belonging to this organisation, which charges us £20,000 a minute for membership. There are none. We should leave. None of these people will dare say so. They're scared of saying so, and B, secretly they like it. They pretend not to. Every Prime Minister since Edward Heath has come back from negotiations in Brussels without his trousers and without his wallet and said, I've just won a fantastic victory. They keep on doing it. They've always lost. The European Union will always take us for a ride. That is what it's for. And until we leave it, it will continue to do so.
From which
leave it now.
From